Taylor of Transcend, coming at you with some exciting VR exercises. In this video, I'll show you how to perform 3 fun, science-based, and highly effective core exercises using your Oculus Home. I'll be explaining how to do these exercises properly, what muscles are being trained, and why they should be trained, especially for gamers. If traditional workouts aren't really for you, or you're just getting bored of your exercise routine, then I think you'll have a lot of fun with these. So firstly, let's talk about a term we hear a lot these days, the core. I consider the core to be more than just the abdominal muscles. I'd say it includes all of the muscles around the trunk and the pelvis. Training the core is extremely important for providing stability to every physical activity you do. The more core strength you have, the better you function, and the less susceptible you become to things like low back pain, poor posture, and various muscular injuries. Learning how to properly use and strengthen your core, as well as learning how to sit with good posture in your chair for long gaming sessions, is going to save you a lot of problems down the line. I suppose I can pop this off for a moment. Now, when we think of core exercises, what comes to mind first? Probably something like sit-ups or holding a plank. These kinds of exercises are never really going to be truly effective if we dread doing them and just never do them frequently enough. So this is where VR comes in. By using VR, I think we can gamify these exercises and make them a whole lot more engaging. Before we get started though, we're going to need a sweat headband because these are not going to be easy.
The first exercise is the bird dog zapper. This is a great exercise for people who spend a little bit too much time sitting in a chair throughout the day. I'm looking at you, gamers. Not only is this a great core stability exercise, but it also trains the posterior chain, which is going to help combat low back pain and reawaken your glutes, which are basically asleep for a lot of people. This exercise involves a lot of muscles, but the main ones I'd like to highlight are your rectus abdominis, glute max, erector spinae, and deltoids. As well, your obliques are being isometrically trained as you are preventing yourself from rotating. Isometric meaning a contraction without a change in the length of the muscle. Here are some notes to be aware of. Before you start the movement, I'd like you to brace your core, bringing your belly button to your spine and squeezing your glutes. Keep your knees under your hips, allow your back to maintain its natural lordotic position, and align your hands under your shoulders. Reach out your opposite arm and leg until they are straight, but do not go past parallel with the floor to prevent potential low back pain. Focus on pushing against the ground with the supporting hand and point your toes downward with the elevated foot. Lastly, make sure you stop your hips from rotating at all, because that's cheating. The way VR makes this exercise much more fun is that you can do some target practice as you are holding for your 8 seconds. Set up your targets to look something like this and let her rip. Not to mention, this is great aiming practice for your FPS VR games like Pavlov. To further gamify this exercise, you can even have a friend count up how many targets you hit through your set. Each target's worth 10 points. How many points can you get? Unlike training for pure strength, the endurance component of stability requires you to perform many reps of an exercise in order to see improvements. So we are going to follow the McGill method for core training. This method involves isometric holds to enhance stability without over-fatiguing the body. Dr. McGill recommends a descending pyramid scheme for core training, which is essentially 6 reps with holds of 8 seconds, then 4 reps, then 2 reps. Complete each set of reps with a rest of 20 to 30 seconds in between, then just make sure to do both sides. The second exercise is plank bowling. The plank is a great core stability exercise that especially helps to develop the rectus abdominis and transverse abdominis, but it's just so boring. Here are some notes to be aware of. Brace your core similar to the way we did with the last exercise. Don't forget to squeeze those buns. Also, don't allow the hips to sag too low, or you make the exercise much less effective. In a way, it's almost better to have a bit of rounding in the back when you are first learning this exercise to help better engage the abdominal muscles. A lot of people like to hold this exercise for a long time, which is not entirely necessary, so it's recommended to follow a descending pyramid scheme for this exercise as well. So holding for 8 seconds for 6, 4, and then 2 reps per set. The way we can use VR to make this exercise much more fun is to add a little bit of bowling into the mix. Set up some interactable objects, such as these 5 heads, take aim, and blast them over. Also a huge plus, you can look at this nice view while you're doing your exercise. You're going to find this is especially tough when you bring one arm up to bowl, as it provides a huge amount of dynamic engagement to the core. Now this notoriously boring exercise has become much more bearable, and who knows, you may actually look forward to this exercise for once. I'd love to see in the comments how many objects you can knock over while performing this exercise, cause this is a tough one. I'd award 20 points per object knocked over with this game. Remember that the balls don't respawn unless they roll off the edge, so use your break time to bring the balls back and reposition the heads. The third and final exercise is the side plank poke. As you can tell, my naming is not great. The side plank is another excellent exercise that is unique in that it trains the lateral obliques and quadratus lumborum muscle on only one side of the body. It also engages an important stabilizer of the hip on the lateral side, the glute medius, which can be a huge problem muscle for many people experiencing low back pain. You can perform the side plank from your knees or feet, depending on your skill level. Some important notes for this exercise. Brace your core once again by contracting your abs and butt. Try not to allow the hips to sag, so pretend that you have a string holding up your hips in a neutral position the whole time. This is yet another notoriously boring exercise, so here's how we're going to gamify it. Set up some targets above and in front of you just out of reach, then grab your favorite colored saber and get ready to strike. Reach towards the targets and pierce through them with the sword. Alternate by hitting one target in front of you and then one target above you. Challenge yourself by only hitting one target at a time, because why not add a little bit more difficulty just for fun? If you have to reach extra far, then it definitely makes it harder and actually adds some serratus anterior activation as well, which is a great muscle to train for shoulder stability. Follow the descending pyramid scheme on both sides for this exercise, just like the previous ones. I would award 5 points per target hit during this exercise, because these targets are just a little bit easier to hit. Try increasing the speed of your strikes over time, and adding more targets as you get better at this exercise.
Overall, this routine is pretty quick to set up and super fun to perform in VR. If done correctly and often enough, it will truly help you strengthen your core, as well as a lot of other beneficial muscles. I personally do this routine every other day, and I really look forward to getting a better score each time I do it. You can progress the exercises from 8 up to 10 seconds as you get better, or add in more reps to the pyramid as well, such as an 8-6-4 split. Ideally, you should aim to do this routine 2 to 3 times per week to start with. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and you learned something useful. Please like the video if you'd like to see more VR exercises, and also share this with someone you think could benefit from some more exercise in their life. So what are you waiting for? Dive into VR and try it yourself. Make exercise fun again and rise beyond your limits.